Boom.
Hello, everyone. Look who we have. Two special guests. And hopefully we'll have more.
No, sorry, guys.
Was that a fart, Sean?
No, I'm blowing my nose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the sky's finally cleared up a little bit. And I can't see the sun, but I can see the blue skies. It's like, finally, after almost 5 days.
Where are you?
I am in Effingham, Illinois. I haven't seen the sun in 5 days.
How long you been there?
I got here this afternoon, but I can't deliver because they're not even freaking open. But it said I can deliver early. It's a drop and hook, but I've been in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, and now Illinois. I've been around those states for about 4 or 5 days, and I haven't seen the sunlight. It'd been raining the entire time. That whole area I just mentioned, heavy flooding.
Keep hitting the likes, everyone, as you come in. And everybody's just raiding me right now, which is good.
Good.
I have a friend she said, I'll have everybody raid you. I said, great, thanks. They're just coming in now.
You know, I don't know. This was like back in the 90s, I believe, late 90s. I didn't never understand the entire story, but I know the two boys killed their parents, the Menendez.
Right.
And they got, I think it's either a documentary or a movie on
Netflix.
Yeah. I like George Lopez when he was talking about that on stand-up comedy. He was on Def Jam once. He goes, I got the right here. I want to talk about the Menendez. You mean we got to kill our fucking parents to get on your TV? It was hilarious how he said it.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like fruit over there, sir. Yeah, everybody just keep coming in. You guys can invite Ellie's if you want. I just don't need him to raid my chat.
Mm-hmm.
Watch my video. Watch my video. Fuck yeah, watch my video.
But one thing I don't understand is why or how was the murder of Selena, the famous singer, released from prison? She was serving a life sentence.
No, they denied her parole.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I thought they released her.
No. For the fourth time, they denied it.
Actually, he doesn't want to come out because she knows that a lot of people of fans of Selena, she will be killed.
Oh yeah, she was going to be as big or bigger than Madonna. She was big, gaining popularity.
Madonna liked to be nude on off ramps.
Well, she's way past her prime.
I know, she's gross now.
My God, it's around in 50s or 60s or something.
Probably late 60s.
Late 60s, yeah. She's got grills now. If you look at her in an interview, a recent interview on Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon, she's got grills. And she still tries to speak with a foreign language from the UK, London. Like Johnny Depp. They both think they're from there, but they aren't.
Well, Johnny Depp has been living there since he was a teenager.
Now
It's
he's got a home there too. Yeah.
shortly after he wasn't big at the time, but shortly after he filmed the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, he was still living with his parents, and he moved with his parents to England after he did that movie. And believe it or not, I could see the accent rubbing off on him because when I lived in Illinois until I was 13, went down to South Carolina and lived for 13 years. The Southern accent, the Southern drawl rubbed off on me.
Okay, got it.
Hey,
Oh,
y'all.
Sean, I just want to thank you for inviting me here on Josh live stream because lately I was having an anxiety attack for the whole night.
Well, there's
So
nothing
I
else to do.
need to talk to, and thank you for inviting me. And Josh is really funny, you know. I know this guy for a long time, and you also. So thank you very much for letting me in the panel.
Josh.
Are you leaving?
No, I'm just here. I'm just muting myself because my father is here.
Tapos na?
Ah, you know how to speak Tagalog.
Yeah. We knew that phrase for a little while. Hey,
Is
Brett.
Darren become live later?
Sorry?
Is Darren will become live now?
I invited him. He works on weekends. I don't know. Sean, the thing I don't understand is voting up there is every day, but then down here in America, it's like no weekends. Just at that time frame, it's Monday through Friday, whatever. But I'm saying like he works for a voting place every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess it's the culture up there. I don't know how they do it, but
Well, they do this in stages, is what it is. They get all of them together. See, they don't decide one party or the other who's the leader of that party only goes on to get voted in. It doesn't work that way. Just like Europe, they all vote, and then whoever the top three are or top four depends on what country. I don't know which. The top three or top four that got voted in, they cut the rest of them off, regardless of what political party they are. Those three or four go on to do a runoff elections. But see, here in America, we want 28 delicious flavors of delicious rice-a-roni. But when it comes to the important things like politics, two's enough. We know better. When in any other country, they have 6 to 12 political parties, not just two. That's so the elite can buy it off, and it doesn't matter who wins; they're going to have their way.
yeah.
When you have 12 political parties, kind of hard to buy off that many people. That's how they solve that issue, like France, Germany, Greece.
Hey, Alexia, I see you. I like her. She's cool.
Yeah, Josh, you get more people in your live stream than mine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I only go maybe 3 or 4. That's it.
Yeah. What are you snacking on? What'd you get?
Huh? Oh.
Pizza.
They're called puffs. like a taco and a hot pocket, but not the same.
Oh yeah, I think that's what you're saying.
But they call them puffs.
Puffs. Yeah. I went to that Flying J in Withville, and I saw their sandwiches, their breakfast sandwiches up at the front there,
Mhm.
and it was like a synonym with sausage, egg, cheese, bacon. I gave it to Marion, but it looked really good, and I was like, "Oh, she'll love this for breakfast," because we were on our way to Knoxville to catch a flight 5 in the morning,
Mhm.
and we were about 2 hours and a half away. So we stopped over there, before Bristol when you're going that way, and so I got her that sandwich, and we both got some drinks or whatever, and it was like $18 $8 for the drinks and sandwich, and then the gas. I had to get gas for us. It was like $20, so it was like almost $30. Fuck.
Yeah, see, when I go into the truck stop in the mornings, I won't buy them if they've been sitting there. I time it just right. You go in there about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when they come out of the oven. They just made them. And I usually request, can you make me a sausage and cheese biscuit? 2 of them? No egg? No egg. I'm like, okay.
And they'll make them fresh right there?
They'll make them for me, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but this had like the synonym toast bread, like the thick, like a Texas toast almost, but it was like this.
Well, yeah, those are French toast, sausage and cheese and egg, between 2 pieces of French toast.
And it had a syrupy already in it, like the syrup, it had like the taste, the flavoring of a syrup. She said she liked it.
No sense at all. We've been under tornado threat 3 out of these 5 days. And now at my house, it is snowing.
In April?
Yep.
Jesus.
We were under tornado threat. A few of them touched down around by my house. All throughout here in the Midwestern United States, Arkansas, Kentucky, Western Tennessee, Northern Mississippi, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, all getting bombed by tornadoes. And, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio, all getting bombed by tornadoes 3 out of these past 5 days. Now it's snowing at my house. This is bullshit, man.
Check on your youngins.
Oh, my son already did. He's the one that said, Dad, it's snowing. I'm like, you're shitting me. He sent me a video. Look.
Wow. Yeah, I think it snowed in, where was it? Lone told me it's, where did it snow? It snowed somewhere up in the northern states. I'm not sure where, but it's like Illinois, Indiana area that, I don't know. Somebody told me.
Now, look at this. A tornado touched down at the border of Wisconsin and Illinois 2 days ago. After the tornado lifted, an hour later, it snowed. That is weird.
Can you give me 1 second? You can talk to Cher, I guess. Be right back. 1 second.
Hey, Sean,
Yeah.
how is your driving now?
I'm not driving. I'm at a truck stop. I'm stuck here
Mm-hmm.
until tomorrow.
Did you try to contact Sammy?
No.
No. It's hard to contact her because all of us were blocked.
Probably blocked me too. That's why I didn't waste my time.
Yeah. Well,
Me, I'm just worried about her medically. That's all I'm worried about.
yeah. Yeah, but
I mean, I'm not completely evil.
yeah, you're not evil. You're not evil. No one. You're not like that. You're not like the others. You're exceptional.
Well, you may think differently of this upcoming video I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it on a live stream. I decided don't do it on a live stream. I'm just going to record it and upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, much better to do. A message to a person that you're really concerned to. Okay.
Yeah, so she can use it and exploit it and try to embarrass me? No.
Mhm.
Oh, excuse me.
You're just giving only advice.
Like, who your son likes me. She'll blow it out of context. No, I care about you, Sammy. You've been a friend for 5 years.
Yeah.
But she thinks that if I show kindness to any Filipino or whatever, I want to screw them. It's like, Sammy, you got the wrong idea.
Mm. I don't think she will come to just life.
Is no matter how far I keep withdrawing from YT, because I stopped giving out super chats long ago because of bullshit like this.
Hmm. But don't let any people to change you. You're a wonderful person. So.
Yeah, all the shit I
Okay.
got from giving somebody that needed help a super chat, and then
Mhm.
all the trolls and Sammy found out about it, and oh man, it was the end of the freaking world. Like, what's the matter with you people? That person needed help.
Mhm. Hello, Josh. Hello, my dear. My God, Josh. I still remember in the Sean Schuber. My God, Ellie is really freak.
I didn't hear that. What?
Ellie is a really freak. It's just like when it comes to watch hours. I mean, in the Monster Hangman,
Yeah.
Harry Crack. It's all started.
Wow, that was 34 years ago. The Menendez incident.
Yeah. It was in 1993.
Wow, I didn't realize it's been that long.
They say they killed their father and mother, what have you, because the father touched them for a long time. They got
Oh,
tired. They got tired of it and killed him. In self-defense is what they're claiming.
yeah, but it didn't work. But it's a documentary. Them speaking out of prison and everything.
Yeah, they were supposed to be released or something like that back in December, and they have not. And people are protesting. They gotta get them released. They're not going to leave.
No, the only I would not comment whether to keep them or release them is if I was on the jury trial or I actually read the court transcripts. I can't make that assumption. I don't know what happened in the trial. All I know
Yeah.
is
All the
the jury found him
protesters.
guilty.
Yeah, all the protesters were saying they're changed people now. Let them go.
That's not true. Anyway, what it is if the jury was a unanimous guilty, because that's the only way that they could get a conviction. The jury was unanimous on that, and I'm like, I'm going to trust the jury because I've been on jury trials before. Just every now and then, depending on the case, you always get that one that wants to be a pain in the ass. Me and him almost went toe to toe. It was when that woman put her baby in the microwave. This was in Dayton, Ohio. To hell, that was like 14, 15 years ago. I'm like, you don't accidentally put your baby in a microwave. No. And it was all over a boyfriend too, that probably doesn't have a Potter window, got tattoos, and doesn't make a living but spends what money he has instead of on the kid, he'll buy a pit bull or an AR-15. That's the kind of people we deal with in those incidences. People that are dirt poor manage to get an AR-15 and a pit bull dog, specifically that breed of dog, because I guess they think it makes their dick bigger. I don't know. It has to do with the ego. I mean, out of all the breeds of dog out there, you had to get this specific one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That was my first jury trial. Was a pit bull dog. That's why I don't like them. Me, if I see one, I'll kill it. It's a dangerous breed, and people say, "Well, it depends on how it's raised." Okay, this is what I used in case law, what the defense lawyer used. That was the same time Siegfried and Roy, their show was shut down in Las Vegas. Siegfried and Roy raised those tigers from birth. But one of them almost drug Roy's gay ass off stage and killed him. As an adult tiger, it raised it since birth. I said, that right there, it's called gut instinct. And I'm sorry, but it's humanity's fault in history that trained these dogs to be that way. They were considered war dogs back in the day. You know, a couple hundred years ago, they put these leather armor on them. They let the dogs loose before the combat got started, and they chew up a few of the soldiers before they end up biting the bullet, and then they run in and attack. That's what those dogs were raised for, specifically. They're a dangerous breed, and they're not needed. I said, yeah, the family had a pit bull pet. 4-year-old got half of her skull ripped off, and I actually had somebody say, well, what did the 4-year-old girl do to the dog? And I looked right at him. I'm like, are you freaking serious? That doesn't fucking matter. Any dog has aggression against a human being needs to be destroyed. And anybody that works at the dog pound and the ASPCA will tell you the same thing. If they can't be reformed, they're destroyed. The only people that need pets, the dogs like that, are not necessarily pets. They're security. Like somebody that owns a junkyard, yeah, there's signs all over the fences, all the way around the place. They say, you jump this fence, you're taking your life in your hands. Because the dogs will eat you up. But other than that, a dog that shows aggression towards humans is not needed. Not in civilian hands like that, no. Especially if you're very poor and you don't work and you manage to get a tax refund from some job that you worked briefly, and instead of spending it on your kids, you buy an AR-15. Really? They don't have their priorities straight.
Yeah.
And it's weird too. Rich people, they have these beautiful Chihuahuas or Pinkinese or Persian dog cats or whatever. They got pugs or whatever. The rich people, the wealthy, have dogs like that. But the dirt poor people have the most dangerous dogs or animals. It makes no sense to me.
American Bully is related to Pit Bull, right?
That's the American Pit Bull, yes.
Yes, yeah, pinasabi she has like that.
Yeah, Pit Bull Terrier. Yeah. Yeah, upbringing may have a little bit to do with it, but there's no stopping gut instinct, because that's how them people were found guilty overwhelmingly. When he mentioned Siegfried and Roy, because that just happened, where Roy got drug off stage, where that tiger damn near killed him. And they raised those tigers from birth. It's called gut instinct. The tiger thought that Roy was in danger, so they always, wrap around the neck and drag them inward, just like they're cubs. Well, we don't have that excess skin like cubs do, and it went right around his neck and was choking him, and it pierced some of his neck too. It was pretty bad. He was lucky he didn't get killed. And that's why Vegas ended their show, because of the danger. And they're like, even the defense attorney was like, oh my God, it was the prosecution that brought that up. And the defense attorney was shaking his head, and there's no defense against that. And that was the trial. I almost got thrown in jail for the first time in my life. The judge reminded me, and he looked like Judge Joe Brown. The door was open, and we didn't realize it because the last person in was supposed to shut the door. It's cracked open, and they're hearing us yelling at each other because this one guy wasn't sure that they were guilty. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What more do you need? And this guy was from India, of India's descent. And then the judge comes in yelling at us. And he goes, I don't care if y'all are talking about a hung jury or not. Y'all saw this problem, and somebody should have shut the door. I said, Judge, it could be a hung jury. Just throw up the noose. I'll pull the rope. My conscience is clear. And he said, one more outburst than you, and I'll hold you in contempt. It was bad. I'm like, oh, well, okay. At the end of the trial, we were walking out, and I was talking to the judge. And I said, Judge, are you related to Judge Joe Brown? Because you look a lot like him, like you would be related. He goes, no, but I get that a lot. Yeah, give the people the death penalty. Throw up the noose in the courtroom. I'll pull the rope. My conscience was clear. Just be glad you've never been in a jury trial or had been forced into it. And they know when you're trying to get out of it. Because I tried and ended up being the frickin' foreman. When they said, you're the foreman, I'm like, shit. Means I got to listen to these people's dirty laundry. And then I learned you get paid. I'm like, what? They go, yeah, if you're in a jury, your job pays you for your 8 hours you'd normally be working. And I'm like, well, hell, let's take our time with this then. He goes, yeah, they give us food, but it sucks. Most of us just leave and go to the nearest place to eat. I'm like, yeah, it does. It's like the same food they give the people in the jail. I'm like, screw this.
Kuya Sean? Sorry, I'm just trying to make you laugh, guys, okay? It's just like I get bored in here. Oh, where is Josh?
Right here. Retirement days is here. That's good.
Josh, you never been a part of a jury trial before?
I don't get accepted for them because I used to have a record.
You mean if you have a record, regardless how long ago it was, that you're not allowed to be on a jury trial?
I don't know. It was the latest one was 2009. From 2007 to 2009. That time frame, 2006, I think. I don't know. But they look at people's records or something, and you're just not randomly selected. Miriam was actually selected. She doesn't have a record. And well, I had to get her out of it because she had seizures. So
Yeah. See, I freaking hated it because I remember the prosecuting attorney, the prosecutor gets to ask anybody a question they want, and then the defense gets to ask any question that they want, and they have to choose who they want on and who they want kicked off. So usually you give crazy freaking answers that'll get you kicked off. My brother is good at it, but I'm not as good as he is. He goes, "You gave the wrong answer. You should have. If the defense asked you that, that's the same answer you would have given, and they would have thrown you off." And I said, "I realize that now." The defense attorney, I didn't get ask any questions from the defense, but the prosecutor came up to me, looking right at me. The woman, I guess she thought I was attractive. I don't know, but she got up from the table and was looking right at me and smiling, and just came up to me, and she goes, "Do you believe in the death penalty?" I'm like, "If it fits the case, yeah." And she just turned around, thumbs up. I'm like, "What does that mean?" And she walks away. Oh, this one was nice. And don't get me wrong. And I'm like, "What does that mean?" "That means you're on the jury." I'm like, "Oh shit." And then before it ended, the people that weren't accepted got up and left. And then the judge walked up in front of us and told us, "Y'all are the jury. You're supposed to avoid talking about this trial to anybody. You can speak amongst yourselves. That's it." And he kept turning, and he looked over at the prosecutor, and he was like, "Who's the foreman?" And she pointed right at me. That woman had it in for me for some reason.
no, unless they talk about penises or something else, and I'll just say, "What kind of envy?" "Penis envy."
Well, you don't get to say anything. You just answer the question if you're asked.
Right.
Because I remember at the end of the trial, she came up. We were all outside. She came up to me. She goes, "I remember the day that I asked you that question." And I said, "Yeah." I had a feeling that I was going to get picked for the to be on the jury, and then, but I didn't expect to become prosecutor. She goes, "Yeah, when I picked you to be the foreman of the jury, you look like you were angry." I said, "Well, I've never been chosen to be a foreman before, and that's like dropping a ton of weight on me, and it's like you're responsible, Dick. Get it right."
So, Sean, do you watch everything on your laptop and phone, or do you actually have a TV?
No. I just watch regular TV on my laptop. Now, there are some guys that will mount a big screen TV in their truck,
Right.
and I'm like, that's a bit ridiculous, guys. I mean, I got two 75 inchers at home. If I want a big TV, I'd rather be home. A 15, 17-inch monitor on a laptop's good enough. Mostly, I bought it just to watch the World Series and the Super Bowl because I try to be home for that. Oh. But shit, this Super Bowl, it was over before it started. The Chiefs didn't even show up to the game. And I'll tell you what, man, the Philadelphia Eagles came to play. I'm like, shit, this game's over before the first quarter ended. I was like, man, this game's over.
Yeah, we were really hoping for the Chiefs. Like, seriously, really hoping for the Chiefs. Then, I mean, it just sucked.
Well, they got two Super Bowl championships so far with Mahomes.
Right.
I remember when he was a rookie. He still it looks like he's only 15 years old. Like, he looks like a kid out there.
But bigger pockets than us.
Oh yeah.
$586 million contract, something like that.
And they don't pay the linemen. And if it wasn't for a good offensive line, I don't care who your quarterback is, they're toast. You got to have a good offensive line to block for your quarterback. That's why Matt Light was paid good, because he blocked Tom Brady's blindside for 11 years. They got 3 Super Bowl rings out of that. 5-time Pro Bowl selection. He's retired now. And I said, man, look at that, Matt. If you hadn't retired and kept going with Tom, you'd have 7 Super Bowl rings right now. He goes, when I got the first one, the wife wanted one for herself, so we did that. And she goes, how about one more? So he ended up getting one more. He goes, I'm done. 11 years in the NFL with 3 rings. I said, Matt, all you got to do is just wait your turn and get your gold jacket. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame, no doubt.
Mm.
And I said, it's going to be this year, and here's why. When the boys go to state, because they played the game there in Canton, Ohio, at the Hall of Fame Stadium, that's where the first NFL game of the season is played and has been for years. Well, the Ohio high school state championship football games played there. I said, the boys look like they're going to make it that far, and if they play, Matt's going to be there cheering for us. And I said, good. And then you can say, hey, he needs his gold jacket.
Yeah.
My boy is 6'6.5" and still growing. Something tells me by next football season he could end up being 6'7", 6'8".
I saw somebody yesterday that was 6'8", and he was bones. He was just like, Jesus, just legs and arms. I mean, that's
Well, my son's been lifting the weights. He's packed on a lot of muscle.
But this guy, I walked past him. I was like, he's got to be 6'8".
Yeah, he's happy now because he can easily lift me now. He was laughing about that. I said, I'm proud of you, son. You're taller than your dad now. I said, when I was your age, I was only 6'1". So if you, on average, grow that much more to what I did when I was a senior, yeah, you're going to be probably like 6'8", 6'9". That means he's going to rip through the offensive line until those quarterbacks make a wish. I said, that's for the pretty boys. They get all the girls, those quarterbacks. But you bust through the line and say, make a wish. That makes them look real bad in front of the girls. Because I guarantee you they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt some kids next season. With him and Tommy on that defensive line, because Tommy is just as big as Junior is. Them two busting through the line, hitting a quarterback. Oh, my God. Might as well get the ambulance out here.
You know, it's sad, Sean, that just something else here. You're talking about high school and everything and stuff. But I never went to prom in my life. I never went to much of any dances. Didn't really care part of the way, but then I never really had a woman. No one. I was I was younger, but I mean, like, nobody really liked me then.
Yeah. I got to play the prom, but they didn't let us play all night. We only got to pay, or they said, pick 5 songs. Y'all get to play for 45 minutes. You got 5 songs. Do it. The reason why they picked us to play in the band because everybody saw us that song a few summers before I graduated. When I was a sophomore, going to be a junior that next year during the summer, I was part of a band and we played in that same gymnasium. It was a festival of some sort, and we blew the roof off the place. And all the other bands started playing, and we were done. We were just hanging out, and people were like, "You all need to go back up there. This band sucks." I'm like, "We're only allowed to play 10 songs, and we're done. Next band plays." I played a recording of it that Noel sent to me. He was the drummer. He was a rich kid. He goes, I found these up in the attic, and they were deteriorating, and I got a little bit off of this one, and he sent it to me. I said, that was the first show we did, the very first song. He goes, yep, that was BAD by Wasp. It sounds good. He said, but most of it was deteriorated. I tried to get whatever I can off of all those cassettes that I had recorded.
Yeah, like I said, like I had 6 other brothers, and the other 5, I believe, me and my youngest, we were huge bitches. But what's so funny?
You said huge bitches. Oh boy.
Well, my other brothers were either, they were military, they were just, they were tight asses, they always got women all the time. They always went to prom, they wore their uniform. And I sat at home, I was like, Dad, Mom, how come I don't have a woman and stuff? What's going on? I want to go. But they paid for them to go. And it's like, Josh, you don't have a girl, you don't have anybody. I said, Mom, let me take you. That's sick.
Well, I didn't necessarily have a date for the prom either, because we played the 5 songs. There was a couple girls that I think that wanted to be my date that night, but they just hung around me. One of them was a downright nerd, but she was a hottie though. She was like Velma from the Scooby-Doo. Oh, she was extremely smart, but she had a nice bod, and she wore thick glasses, and she couldn't see worth a shit. I even told her, I said, the reason why you think I look good is because you can't see. And then she goes, bullshit, I can see you. I'd pick on her all the time. Her name was Betty.
And then she made you drop your pants?
I probably would have if she wanted that, but she was there with no date. There were a lot of girls that showed up without dates. They figured they could pick up the leftovers who didn't have one. Well, nobody that played live in the band with me, they didn't have anybody. But Noel already had a girlfriend anyway, so the rest of us, we were a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys. That's what the principal, Mr. Musgrave, said. He goes, you didn't dress up in a suit or anything? You're wearing black spandex. I said, I'll change after the show. I said, I hope so, because you all be looking like a bunch of Johnny-come-lately.
Me, I just attended a prom long time ago, and it was always in the hotel, and I have to wear this gown, which is I feel uncomfortable, to be honest. And I found out that I'm a woman. No, because long time ago I was a kind of boyish, and when I attended this prom, I met one guy over there. Oh my God! Okay, there you go. Yeah, but no touch, okay, because I have a very strict parents that time. Yeah, prom is really good.
Here's the kicker, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. Are you familiar with Thurman Lake? It used to be called Clarksville Lake. It's in northern Georgia, South Carolina. It represents the border of Georgia and South Carolina, but it's up in the northern part. Mm-mm. I think it's only like an hour's drive to you in South Carolina there. We call it Modoc, but it's Thurman Lake. It used to be called Clarksville Lake, but they changed it in Thurman's honor. Mm-hmm. Okay. This was for homecoming. I'm a senior. My best friend is Troy Cleveland, and he plays on the football team also. And he has been dating. She ends up becoming the prom queen. She was just downright gorgeous. She even competed for Miss South Carolina too. I was in drama. Troy wasn't. But we both played on the football team. He was the defensive end. I was the defensive tackle at that time until they moved me to linebacker because Troy could handle that side of the field himself. But with two of us there, you weren't going to throw the ball that way or run that way because you were dead meat. It was a day. It was called Senior Cut Day.
Yep.
And it was like a week before homecoming. I don't know who arranged this. And my mom was even like, "You better not cut school." God damn it. Oh, shit. I got the whole 9 yards. My mom treated me like Norman Bates. But anyway, Troy.
Let me tell you this.
Yeah. My mom, I drove my car, and the girls are dressed in bikini. This is one of the last few warm days, okay, where you can go swimming. The girls are in bikinis, it's like, oh my God, the entire senior class is there. I'm assuming. I think there may be maybe one or two actually went to school. But I noticed that there was somebody across the lake. It was like maybe 300 yards, and they were fishing. And it was Troy. And I drove around there, and I said, "Troy, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm not going with y'all." He goes, "But I guarantee you Musgrave's going to bring 3 buses here and load you all up and take you to school." So I'm over here fishing. He was the fishing hunter type, country boy. And I said, "Come on, Troy, you ain't catching anything. Your girlfriend is over there." He had a boat too. And I said, he goes, "All right." I talked him into it because his girlfriend was over there. He didn't know it. And I said, "Wait a minute. In drama, we were doing the Three Musketeers, and I was Porthos, and we had to buy our own costumes and everything. And it looked great. It looked similar to the one that you saw in the Man in the Iron Mask. It had that Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Yeah.
It looked a lot like that one, the Musketeers. I was Porthos, and I'm like, "Wait a minute." And he goes, and Troy goes, "Are you going to ask her sister out?" It was his girlfriend's sister, which was she was a sophomore. And I'm like, "I'm going to try to. But I'm interested in Serena." And he goes, "Okay, go ahead and try to go after that piece of trash," is what he said. I'm like, "Come on, Troy." He goes, "She is," but she was a quiet type. I get my Porthos costume, and we get on the boat, and we go across the lake, and they see us coming, right? So I stand up in the front of the boat like I'm some sort of conqueror, and I didn't have a sword. They keep those in the school. So I didn't have a sword, so I used this fishing pole as a sword. And they're all, a few people are laughing, "What the fuck?" And I'm holding it up, and I'm yelling right at Serena, wearing a hot black bikini like I like. And I said, "I've come to rescue thee." I was acting like, one of the Musketeers. Don't ever trust your best friend when you're on a boat and you stand up. I'm doing that, right? We're coming towards we're like maybe 50 yards from the sand, right? He rocks the fucking boat, and I go head first into the water and break the fishing pole. Everybody's dying laughing. And I came out of the water, and I grabbed my hat, and I held up the pole, and it was broken. And he goes, "Man, you broke my fishing pole." I said, "I'll get you another one." And I threw it in the boat, and I said, "I owe you one." And I went up and talked to Serena, and she smacks me. And she goes, "You embarrassed me, and you're retarded." And she pushes me. And I'm like, shit. So I'm soaking wet. I got to walk around the lake to go get my car. And believe it or not, Sonia was her name. It was the prom queen's younger sister. She was a sophomore. She catches up to me. And she goes, "Sean, stop." And I turn around like, "Sonia." I'm like, I know it was funny, but I was trying to ask somebody out to the homecoming dance. She goes, "I'll go with you." And I about blew up like a balloon. I'm like, all right. Man, I ran back to my car, drove around, and I talked to Troy, and he goes, "That was freaking easy on you." He already knew because she went back and told her sister. And I'm like, I'm like, Troy, she asked me. He goes, yeah, I know. Because you were ridiculous, but you became a celebrity in front of the entire senior class for what I did to you. And I'm like, maybe that was a good thing you did that. He goes, I did it because it would have made the entire class laugh at you. But I knew you were serious, but they didn't.
Mm.
I wish I had it on videotape. I could relive it. I remember it. Rocking the boat, and I go head first in the freaking water with a fishing pole in my hand. I'm just glad it didn't ruin the costume, though. Oh, they heard about it. When I went around to go get my car, I just made it back, and the buses showed up. And everybody, Troy was like, God damn it. Troy got in his boat, and he told his girlfriend, you come with me or not? And they're on the boat, and they go across the lake. He's the only one that got away, him and his girlfriend and the sister. The rest of us all got nailed. And Musgrave says, who's going to come back and get your car? I'm like, Musgrave, I'll drive in front of the buses on the way to school. I will come. He came and got every one of us. And he goes, you girls that are dressed in bikinis, if you don't have clothing, you're going to be wearing a trash bag the entire day. There was a few of them that didn't have clothes. So they had to put a trash bag on them, poke their holes and arms through. It was ridiculous. Said, y'all should have known, we know you do this every year. And if the senior class does not show up, we know where you guys are because it's the only place to go. Is Thurman Lake. That's where everybody goes.
The way you do his voice, Thurman, John Thurman.
Oh, the old Senator Strom Thurman. How you doing, son? That was a good tackle. Give me the football next time. And I did, too. Ball squirted out, and I landed on it. And I was, jumping up and down, ran off the field. I kept going, jumped over the fence, up the stands, and everybody's like, what the hell's he doing? And then they saw me hand the ball to Senator Thurman. He come down every Friday night football game. Do you remember him?
Yeah, he's deceased now.
Well, yeah, he died in office. He was like 106. Nobody will ever be senator as long as he was.
I can picture him. I can see him, but I wasn't really a fan.
He had a deep Southern accent, one of those old antique style. Very sloppy, too. Remember, he was on that council. He goes, well, they didn't type out the dang on affidavit.
Mm.
Shit, he was old when I was in high school. I think he died, in 99 or 2000. Somewhere right around there. But he was senator. He became the senator of South Carolina right before World War II ended.
Hmm.
Yeah, the British version of Strom Thurmond would have been it's at the tip of my tongue. Hang on a second. One of my favorite MPs they had. Dennis Skinner. Dennis Skinner. He during World War II. Well, after World War II, he was the union president of the railroad union in Britain, and then he became MP. That's why I really, up until a couple years ago, I really enjoyed watching Parliament. It was very entertaining because John Bercow was the speaker, and he was one of the best they ever had. And that was when Dennis Skinner was part of the Labor Party, and David Cameron was the prime minister, and then I believe we got Theresa May. But it was very entertaining. As soon as you hear the Jonathan Burkow would stand up, he's the Speaker of the Parliament. He goes, "I'd like to call on the honorable gentleman, Mr. Dennis Skinner," and I immediately go, "Oh shit, here we go. It's going to get entertaining now," and it usually does. It's a thing that they have called Prime Minister's Questions, something that we need in our Congress. What it does is it holds their feet to the fire of what they're doing instead of just letting the media do whatever they want. And very rarely do you see them actually. The only time we see the president truly is during the State of the Union, one time a year. With Parliament, you see the Prime Minister at least once a month, because there's a thing called Prime Minister's Questions, and the House is full. You get called on, they ask the Prime Minister a question, the Prime Minister answers it, and they go back and forth. I remember, David Corbyn, a part of the Labor Party, was always going at it with Theresa May. It was hilarious. Jeremy Corbyn was like a hungover geography teacher.
Okay.
And the thing is, you can heckle the other side as they're trying to talk, but then the speaker will say, "Order, order! I don't care how long it takes all day, but I want to hear what the honorable gentleman's got to say." And then he'll start again.
Yeah.
And then if you say something, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the other young females in the House of Representatives going at each other like that, that would have been put an end to right away. The Burkow would have stood up and said, "I would like the honorable lady to withdraw her comments to so-and-so, and if they don't, they get kicked out." And it goes both ways.
Yeah.
If the other person had said something nasty to the same thing, I'd like the honorable lady to withdraw the comments she had made. And if they don't, he goes, "I have no alternative under Title 45 to ask that the person be withdraw from the Parliament's premises." And they usually go out the door, and there's a bar out there, and they usually get drunk before everybody else does. That's the only reason why I know about Parliament, is because it was very entertaining to watch for a few years.
I think Darren's going to miss out on this one.
But hell, when you look at our Congress, if they show up, it's always an empty room. And I'm like, what are y'all talking to? Dead air? There's just a few people up there sitting there with the mallet in their hand, and there's hardly anybody sitting in the seats. And then when they do show up, they all look like they're on Thorazine. All right, let's do it like the Brits do. Yeah, that holds the feet to the fire to everybody. And everybody's watching too. Wish Tammy was here. She knows a lot about it too.
Right, Cher? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Okay.
just listening to you guys. I just let Sean to talk, because he knows a lot.
Well, the only reason why I know a lot is because I get around.
Yeah.
Something that may be boring to other people, I find very interesting. Like people, I can't stand watching Parliament. Just keep watching. It'll get entertaining here really quick. Now, I really haven't been watching as of late. I did get to see the new speaker. He seemed like a real good gentleman and can go from gentleman and psychotic like that at the drop of a hat. A few of my British friends said, I had a headmaster like that in school. He can go from a gentleman to psychotic in a drop of a hat like that. The only one that I know in Parliament right now that was around when I watched all the time, they treated him like shit because he was from Scotland. Ian Blankford, he's an MP for Scotland.
Right.
Because as soon as Ian Blankford stood up to say anything, he was immediately heckled. That man got heckled more than any other MP that I know. And I think it's because he's Scottish. That's why. But he's a part of the Labour Party, not the Tories. But it's like all the good ones are gone. And I know they could have put in a few more years. I just think they didn't want to anymore. They're just saying, the hell with it. There's no fixing this shit. And they gave up. Because Burkow was by far one of the best speakers they ever had in Parliament. And he goes, I didn't realize my popularity until I retired. I came here to the United States and everybody knew who I was and liked me. I said, I feel honored. Because he would go and he would do these, political speakings, to these colleges and everything. He was most requested by all your political classes and all the colleges across the country. They loved Jonathan Burkow. He was an accomplished mediator.
Okay.
Because you have to be, for the most part, as the speaker, you have to be a good mediator. But I remember when the Tories tried to corner him once, politically, they said, was that a BLM sticker in the windscreen of your car? And everybody's shouting at him and everything, and he turns a little bit red and he smiles and he goes, order. And he goes, I believe the sticker you refer to is on the rear windscreen of my wife's car. Yes, it's on my wife's car. And the Tories seem to think that their wives are cattle. Oh, that was a low blow. My wife gets to say whatever she wants politically in my house, regardless if I like it or not. And they thought it was his car, that they're idiots. That was on the windscreen of my wife's car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take you too long to watch Parliament. And I'd say if you watch Parliament, Prime Minister's Questions, within 6 months, you'll know who's a piece of shit and who's not in Parliament pretty quickly. Because they do it to themselves.
Yeah. Sorry I'm not talkative tonight. Just a lot going on.
And every time I mention the word Parliament, I think of that group from the late 70s, early 80s. They had that song Flashlight. We'd always go to the skating ring and do the toe jam. Flashlight, do 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 do. There isn't much singing. It's just a beat, basically. If y'all want to know in the chat, just type in the search field in YouTube Parliament Flashlight and listen to it. It's a pretty cool jam. You go to any barbecue with your African American friends here in the States, you're guaranteed to hear that song at least one time. That and the Electric Slide.
Electric slide.
Yeah, and the ladies get up and do it, and I'm like, this is like aerobics. And aerobics is too much like sex.
Here we go.
Well, it is. Your sweat, your muscles hurt, your sweat.
That's Josh.
Hold on a second. It's true. Your muscles hurt and you're sweating, and you got a woman up there saying you ain't doing it right.
Mm,
Nobody got the joke.
I got it.
Not even Cher got that joke.
She's like, no.
Man, the ground is covered all at the.
Yeah. Cher, did you get it?
Not really.
Hmm. Cher, what was so funny earlier? Because Sean said sex, and I said, here we go.
Yeah. You know what? Every time you said "here we go," it makes me laugh. I don't know. It was you, Josh, and also Sean, because Sean, he is a very outspoken when it comes to sex. It's really straightforward. Sorry, guys. I'm not very good in English, but I'm looking forward to communicate with you guys.
Yeah, but you know that there's going to be a joke in there somewhere, so you got to think. It just takes a little bit of thinking, and then you'll understand the joke.
Yeah.
Where's Darren?
I'm not sure. Everybody's invited him. There's no way he works this late.
He's talking to his wife.
He's probably
Then where's Pinky?
Working.
Where's
Yeah,
where? Where's who?
Pinky and Darren's wife are like sisters. They grew up together and they work at the same place together. Matter of fact, their desks are right across from one another. They can face each other.
Hmm. Yeah. Dobson. Alona never goes on anybody's live anymore either.
Yeah, you rarely see her anymore.
Talk about somebody that never sleeps. Alona.
Well, she lives in the Middle East. She takes care of a wealthy family. She's like the nanny and the maid at the same time. Very wealthy Saudi Arabian family.
But I see her with other people in her home or wherever she's at. I don't know.
Well, yeah, she's got her own home. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, actually, that is her board mates and also worker. Okay. And in Saudi Arabia, they don't. Some of them they don't like. No, she's from Abu Dhabi actually. They
Oh,
don't
Abu
like.
Dhabi.
Yeah. And then right now, I think she's in Africa. I don't know where is she now. Right now.
I saw a few videos recently. She was dancing or at a church or doing something.
Okay.
I don't know what. But
Well, I know Clarina is near her, but I think she's in the AEW, whatever the hell that initial country is, right next to Saudi Arabia. The UAE, not the UAE. Yeah, the UAE, United Arab Emirates. That's right. It's glad that they changed the laws there because Clarina was doing videos of her being in a bikini on the beach. That was they would have chopped her head off for that years ago.
Well, you can't show skin.
Yeah, because there's so many bloggers now, especially those son and the son of the one of the sons or one of the relatives of the king. He's vlogging. I think that
Yeah,
is
it's.
Money Kicks or something. He's vlogging. So so many vloggers right now there.
I would
That's
never
it.
judge. I never judge their country in front of them, but I will never return to their country again because I call them the head choppers, and Saudi Arabia is that, and they're supposed to be an ally of ours. No, no, thank you. Yeah, they publicly will behead you, and they behead people in public because I've seen it. That's why I was sent out of that country because they didn't want an international incident. I said I know who our fucking enemies are. I'm not going to drink with my enemy. That was the last straw. It was during Desert Storm, and that's when they almost sent me. They sent me to Somalia, but then I was getting sent home from there, and that was right before the incident of October '93. The movie Black Hawk Down. Touch on that. What happened in Somalia? I'm like, glad I wasn't a part of that because that was a big freaking mess.
You know they made a dirty movie with that title?
Yeah, it was called Black Hoe Down. That's old.
Or Black Cock Down, something like that.
They call everybody in the military call it Black Hoe Down. I told if they were talking about keeping me and promoting me in a major, and if I was a part of that mess, I'd be like, you guys fly the chalks, I'll fly the gunship. Because the gunship, I don't have anybody besides a couple of gunners on each door, and I don't have to drop anybody off on the ground. Me, I just fire rockets and bullets at whomever I want to shoot at. Because then my life would not have necessarily been on the line. The only thing they could have done is maybe if they get a lucky shot and hit me with a rocket-propelled grenade, but those they wouldn't have been able to lock on because I'd be moving instead of in a stationary position. The two Blackhawks that got hit with a rocket-propelled grenade in the tail, that's because they were a stationary target. They weren't moving. But they couldn't move because they were dropping ropes down and the guys were rappelling down. They're like, guys, give me a target. Third building up on the roof. All I got to do is have that monocle over my eye, look at it, bang, bam, blow them up. That's what's good about being on a gunship because all you got to do is look at the target and whatever you're looking at and pull the trigger, that's what's going to hit. Because it would have been different if I was involved on that. I mean, give me a gunship. And they had all those Zulus coming up the damn street with AK-47. And we're talking about half the city, and these people are armed to the teeth. I would have went right through there with my chain gun, mowed them all down.
So, Sean, my laptop's about to die, so I gotta get going.
Okay, I had fun. I'll talk to y'all
Bye.
later.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
I'm gonna watch TV. I'll probably watch Black Hoe Down. But bye-bye.
All right, see you. All right, everybody. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.